I was planning to include Boomy in the video, but I'm gonna let him nap. He had to go to the vet today, so he is recovering. Today has been a bad day. It was just really stressful. I had a lot of appointments and errands that were very fruitless. And I feel like the way that I coped with that was just to indulge in media and binge, just scroll pointlessly. And of course now I feel a lot worse than I did. My brain feels more scattered. I feel just less at peace, I guess. But I'm not going to let the kind of self-disappointment that comes with that prevent me from doing the things I was still planning to do. So I am going to go ahead and bake some banana bread. I'm trying a gluten-free version. I'm not gluten-free, but I want to share it with a friend of mine that is. And in light of the just kind of stressful feeling like my brain is cluttered, I thought maybe we could talk about some ways to declutter media life and how that can benefit us. And don't worry, I can almost guarantee Boomy will make an appearance in the video. It is very rare that I can do anything in this small apartment without him, so he'll be joining us promptly. One reason I really like this recipe is all you have to use is oats, and if you're not gluten-free like me and you don't necessarily buy all of the gluten-free flours from the store, this is an ingredient that most people have on hand anyways, and you can eat even if you are not gonna use up like all of that really expensive gluten-free flour for yourself. That being said, it does have to be ground into oat flour, so you could always just buy oat flour if you wanted to make your life easier. You could probably do this in a blender, but I use a food processor because I think that it grinds the oats more finely. Yeah, I think I need to grind it longer. It still looks more like cornmeal. Did I wake you up with the loud food processor? Hi, baby. The snowman has been his most recent obsession. It's about the only stuffed animal we had in the apartment, and he found it, and they're best buds. Do you want your snowman? I think the baking is going to go a lot more slowly now. Okay, well, I'm just gonna let the oats finish grinding up in the other room, but I did want to go ahead and, while we're waiting, just start talking about some of the ideas I've been thinking about of ways to declutter. No, please don't touch my computer. The first set of things I had was social media specific. I know just in general, social media and just my personal devices can often act like physical clutter. Whenever there's physical clutter in my house, I feel stressed. It's just like each of those items that are misplaced is another thing on my mind. And I sense that a lot with media. And so I've been thinking, how can I reduce that and make media a more tidy, neat, organized space that helps me prioritize what I really care about. So first, for Instagram, would be to unfollow accounts that you don't feel like are beneficial to you. One question to ask would be, do I feel drained or do I feel filled up after I view content by this account? A second question would be, does this account have personal importance to me? Is it, you know, personal relationships or personal interests, or is it more, you know, to do with products or utility or something like that? Another way to reduce the clutter of Instagram is to review your privacy settings and just check that, you know, social media, your Instagram account is a safe place that feels secure, a way to reduce unwanted attention or solicitation. This whole time I'm talking, Boomy's digging in my back pocket where I've got a little handkerchief. So that's why I'm saying a lot, because he's a little distracting. A third way to declutter Instagram would be to direct message a friend each time you go on Instagram. Now this might seem like something you're adding, something that's more of a clutter, but I think that this is just a way to remind yourself that Instagram is not about the content. It shouldn't be about the volume of accounts that you follow, but it's really about maintaining personal relationships and finding inspiration and things like that. So again, to kind of compare to organization of a home or personal space, this would be like putting your most valued items out in front where they're easily seen and easily used, as opposed to having less important items put away in their belonged spaces. Okay, I think it's time to check the flour and maybe escape this little bean. Do you want to go back to the kitchen? Are you ready to go back out? He's looking like he wants to attack my face if he could. So let's go. There he goes. Let's check our flour. Okay, I think that's better. I've never actually had store-bought oat flour, but it doesn't have the texture of like wheat flour. It will be a more kind of textured loaf, but honestly with banana bread, I'm not complaining. And this little bean is helping. I will definitely include the recipe in the description. I did not invent this. This is from Hungry Hobby. The camera's wiggling because Boomy's playing with the base. Boomy, excuse me. You were so much trouble. I'll get the snowman. So Hungry Hobby, I'll include the recipe in the description. Next ingredient is 3 bananas. And while I mash those, we'll go over the next idea on decluttering. Another area I think it can be really helpful to declutter your media life is YouTube. This is going to sound really counterintuitive coming from someone who's making YouTube videos, but I would recommend turning off notifications if that's something that's beneficial to you and encourages you to remember that you are the one who gets to decide when you want to spend time on media and when you don't. You know, your schedule and your investment in your mental health is more important than someone else's schedule or content or whatever that might be. I think the same thing would go for subscribing. For example, I used to follow an account called Bodyweight Warrior that had to do, I followed it for the mobility exercises. I definitely wasn't about the exercise programs because they were way too intense for me. I'm not about to do like gymnast bars and stuff like that, but it got to the point where my home feed and notifications were so crowded with videos that didn't apply to me that I unsubscribed. I saved, you know, my favorite routines, like, you know, hip mobility or back mobility and stuff like that, that I could return to. And I would check the channel every now and then to see if there was anything I might be interested in adding to my routine. But honestly, by just unsubscribing from that channel, I reduced the amount of YouTube clutter by like 90%. I would ask the same questions, similar questions at least, that we asked for Instagram accounts as for YouTube accounts. You know, like, do I feel filled up and encouraged, or do I feel drained or stressed or overstimulated after consuming content by this creator. I have definitely reduced the number of people I subscribe to on YouTube, but some of the people I will never ever unsubscribe from unless they drastically change their channel are the Cottage Fairy and Ashlynne Eaton. I just find that these two channels are super wholesome, super relaxing and calming, and it's honestly a way for me to genuinely de-stress instead of add stress. I think our bananas are looking quite mushed. Again, the texture isn't perfectly liquefied, but it's just going to add to some of the kind of hearty texture that at least I enjoy in banana bread. Boomy was playing with my feet the entire time, but if I indulged him every time he wanted to play, I would never get anything done. That's why he has a snowman. Now the recipe does want, okay, and then to the mashed bananas, we're gonna add maple syrup, which I don't have, so I'll just use honey, eggs, and this says unsweetened vanilla almond milk, but I'm not that bougie, so we're just gonna use milk. Excuse me, sir, I don't want to pinch your tail or anything. Usually he is much more in the way whenever I open the fridge. I don't know why he wants to climb in there, but I'm guessing he just wants to be a kitten sickle. Do you want to be a kitten sickle? Egg. Egg. Watch that. Measuring out honey, am I right? Now the recipe does want you to re-measure the oats after you grind them up so that you can make sure it's still the right amount, because depending on how finely you grind it, it may measure differently. So the 3 cups of rolled oats is supposed to turn into 2 3/4 cup of oat flour. So that's like 2 1/4. It's like barely 2 cups, so I will have to grind more, but okay, now it's time to do a cat hunt. Boomy's pretty good about being okay on his own, but occasionally he has an accident on the carpet, so oh, there he is. Just try to keep an eye on him in general. This is his favorite place, the jungle gym. Hey, buddy. So while I'm waiting for the oat flour round 2 to grind up, I think similar principles could be applied to Snapchat, Be Real, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. Just about the way that you discern whether content or influencers or accounts are beneficial to you. Another thing that I really want to be better about is decluttering the actual content of my phone. He's attacking my arm. You're not being very nice. This could be, you know, deleting duplicate or mistake photos, or organizing them into albums, or sending them to people who they're relevant to, deleting apps you don't use, or just undownloading them from your home screen. I think there's like a setting now that you can still have it on your phone and use it. It's just no longer cluttered on your home screen. Another way I try to minimize the clutter of my phone is by he really likes to mess with computer docks. What was I saying? Oh yeah, organize apps by color order. So like, you know, red to yellow to green to blue and purple, just so that the group of apps looks more like a unified whole rather than just a ton of random pieces of information that is really difficult to sort through. Something that's currently on my to-do list is to declutter things like, you know, Apple Notes or reminders and tasks, just pieces of information that I've kept for myself that I either need to consolidate or get rid of, or, you know, just declutter and streamline, because I would find way more benefit and way more peace of mind with those apps if I just cleared out a lot of the clutter from past. I'm making hand motions with my hand as I talk, and he's watching my hand go back and forth. Just because those apps were designed to help you with productivity, not decrease your productivity because you're so stressed every time you open it and see like the 50 notes that you have from like 2018. Another option is to think about what kind of essential apps you can take off of your phone. This could be things like clock, alarm. I have been thinking about investing in a calming or soothing alarm clock to have instead of keeping my phone as my alarm, because then it's really hard to stick to my boundary of not having the phone in the bedroom because I need to rely on it some days to have a prompt wake up. Another option would be like, what if I deleted my email app from my phone? You know, I can still access email from my laptop if I need to, but it's just kind of creating a boundary of, I don't need that mental clutter and that demand for my attention constantly with me. But I understand that's not really practical for everyone. I'm not even sure that I'll do that, but it's something I'm thinking about. You are a little rascal. Okay, let's go check the oat flower. Please don't type on my document. Oh no. I guess he wouldn't be a cat if he didn't like to walk on the keyboard. I left the audio out because my husband came home and we were chatting and catching up, and I figured since I have to wait so long for the bread, I'll have plenty of time to finish up some of my thoughts before we pull that out, sample it, and finally give Boomy a play session because he really needs one. So another idea I have for decluttering that I would love to do is actually taking some information off of your phone and putting it in the real world. One thing I've been wanting to do for a long time is take all my recipes and put them into either like a flip deck or a recipe book or something like that. So while I do appreciate the idea of taking, you know, documents and putting them into a digital format because it means that you have less clutter in your home, I found that this isn't actually practical in all circumstances, and I would love to just have a physical copy of my recipes that I can reference, flip through, look at while I'm cooking, and not have to worry about, oh, my phone is dying, or my phone, you know, turned off because I didn't look at it for 5 minutes, or oops, I spilled batter on my phone. Like, this could also be done for photos, notes, even relationships, calendars, or to-do lists, just taking those off of their primary mode being digital and taking it and putting it into the real world. Did you get stuck? Did you get stuck? So comment below if you thought of a way to just declutter, de-stress your digital space, or if you'd like to kind of modify any of these ideas I had. Of course, now he's a sweet little sleepy angel, and I can't move lest I would disturb him. I suppose this is where I'm going to be for the next 40 minutes until the timer goes off. Kitchen is clean. There's 10 minutes left, but I think I'm going to check it now because I feel like I remember I overcooked it last time. It smells and looks beautiful. It's hard to tell. I think it's cooked. We will cancel that. Cancel that. Let that cool, and then taste. Pretty much perfectly came out, except for one lonesome chocolate chip. No chocolate chip left behind.